I am Riverside County 3rd District Supervisor Chuck Washington, and I'm honored and proud to serve as your CSAC President. It's great for us to come together in Sacramento to learn from one another and elevate our collective county voice. We have an exciting 2 days ahead of you, including policy committee meetings, caucuses, and the Board of Directors meeting, all of which serve unique yet equally vital roles in the association. These meetings are where each of us can help steer the association's policy and direction. It's some of the most important work we do. But we also have a first-of-its-kind joint summit on homelessness with our Cal Cities colleagues this afternoon. We'll explore how to move forward and address this crisis together, because we all know that something has to change. We'll explore how to move forward and address this crisis together, because we all know that something really does need to change. I'm proud to say that counties are leading the change with the at-home plan. We'll have more on that in a few minutes. We're also here to meet with our respective legislative delegations, and we have a fantastic legislative reception tonight right downstairs. We're happily hosting this event jointly with Cal Cities as well, so it should be a good time. I encourage everyone to explore the conference program and participate in as many meetings and events as possible. We have also built in plenty of time to catch up with your colleagues too. That's the secret to the strength of counties right now. We're not just leading, we are leading together. That's my goal as your president. I want to ensure we are 58 counties strong, and that any path we walk it together. One timely example of this is the weather crisis we're all dealing with right now. Nearly 50 counties have been under a disaster declaration since the January storms, and 9 counties are currently under a major presidential disaster declaration. We prepared a short video to show how counties have been impacted and the important work that we're all doing. I applaud all counties for managing this disaster and sharing the strength and resilience of our communities. And on a personal note, I thoroughly enjoy the conversations I've had with individual supervisors from around the county as they share their experiences and their stories with me. But I'd particularly like to give a shout out again to Terry Woodrow of Alpine County. Terry is here, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, Terry, but she represents what I think a lot of you represent. She comes from the least populated county in the state. She has just about the farthest commute you can have, and yet she climbs out of 3 stories of snow at her home and gets on a snowmobile to get to her car, and then an hours-long drive to get to Sacramento. And I think, again, not to embarrass Terry, but it represents the spirit of county supervisors and our commitment to the work that needs to be done. Just because the skies are blue now doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. Not by a long shot. Our Central Valley colleagues are caught in a slow-moving catastrophe. As the historic snow melts, flooding is predicted to grow between now and July 1st. And many counties are still digging out of the snow and contending with widespread damage to infrastructure, including destroyed homes, crushed businesses, swamped farmland, and crumbling roads. Working amidst so many challenges, I remain proud of the work counties are doing right now. We will continue to advocate for all state and federal assistance for this ongoing disaster. It's a long road ahead, but we've just witnessed how strong counties can be when we work together. Speaking of strength, I'd like to take a moment to focus on the great work CSAC California Counties Foundation is doing to support counties. It is my pleasure to introduce a supervisor who hails from the very foggy San Luis Obispo County. He serves as the president of CSAC California Counties Foundation Board and as CSAC first vice president. Please welcome the one and only Bruce Gibson.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is my great pleasure to serve as the president of California Counties Foundation, and I want to bring you up to date on a few things that have been going on there. We have three things I want to talk about today, three different programs. One of them is our longest standing and most well known, which is CSAC's Bill Chiat Institute for Excellence in County Government. That is, I know many of you have taken advantage of those extraordinary courses, and that institute is in its 15th year. We've grown to one of the most respected professional development programs in the nation, and we continue to partner with NACO and others to bring in extraordinary instructors to continue the great tradition there. So I hope you will avail yourself of all that. More than 2,000 county employees have earned their CSAC credentials, and we're working on special programming so you want to be a CAO. And those of you who are CAOs, I pose that question to you with a little bit of an inflection now. But be sure to visit the Institute's website. You can get the full list of the programming for upcoming in this spring and summer course offerings. We've also, the second program is relatively newer, but we're really excited to be running now with the CSAC Grants Initiative and making great opportunities available to all counties. I have to acknowledge that as the inspiration of our past president, Supervisor Valenzuela of Siskiyou, and as we look there, we see that this program can provide support to counties of any size as we navigate the increasingly complex world of funding from a variety of sources. We have just hosted actually a webinar on homelessness and housing grants, and counties are eager to find out what the great grant opportunities there are, and you can keep track of that each Friday if you look in your email inbox with the CGI, CSAC Grants Initiative Grants newsletter. We're really pleased now to have Brian Rutledge leading the CGI. And again, whether you need a little bit of help being pointed in the right direction for grant opportunities, or whether you need a complete custom grant writing and eventually grant administration services, these things are in development. We've developed a sign up for the grants newsletter. Please do look at the website to sign up for that newsletter, and look forward to more extraordinary work coming. And today, for the third program I'd like to talk about, I'm excited to announce today our newest CSAC Grants Initiative collaboration with the California Emerging Technology Fund, or CETF. We're working with CETF to advance digital access and equity in all counties in our state. We're going to leverage our expertise and outreach skills to help county leaders shape the plan for the federal Broadband Equity, Access, and Development Program dollars. That's the BEAD program that many of you are interested in. And I was, just as a personal note, it crossed my email inbox yesterday, was the permit for the middle mile installation in San Luis Obispo County. A huge effort, and there are thousands of miles of that happening all over the state. This program will also help counties connect residents with affordable broadband service by promoting enrollment in the Federal Affordable Connectivity Program, or ACP. And that offers subsidies for home internet access. Again, something that we are working strong on in San Luis Obispo County. We have 2 public workshops coming on state digital equity planning. It's already booked, and will be in Merced this Friday and Fresno on Saturday, with more workshops around the state to come. And so with the CGI and the CETF programs, the CSAC Foundation is embarking on a thoughtful and strategic expansion of the services that we can benefit all counties. I want to thank the Foundation Board and its staff, and especially the incomparable Chastity Benson for her extraordinary work over many years to make us what we are today. If you would please visit the websites. Yes, we're going to hear more about Chastity before too long here. Visit the websites. You'll find out everything you need to know, whether it's to attend an institute course, apply for a grant, or participate in our broadband activity. Thank you again for the opportunity to address you this morning. I'll turn it back to President Washington.
Earlier, when I reached in my pocket to turn off my phone, I'd gotten a text from a previous chief of staff. Last night, she was at a very late city council meeting, and she wanted to let me know of the outcome, because we're trying to do a wellness village, is what we're calling it, in our behavioral health department. And it's right in the middle of a community, the community of Hemet. And of course, they're saying all kinds of bad things will happen, right? And we're saying, no, good things will happen. And the city council voted 3-1 against it, but the community came out in great support of it. And it reminded me of a conversation I was having this morning, not necessarily over breakfast, but at breakfast, with Kathleen from Tuolumne County about the challenges we face. And we're going to be dealing with this topic later today in our discussions about homelessness. But I cherish these conversations I have, because I learn about what's going on around the state and what models there are that are succeeding. I talked to Miles about Mariposa County and the snow and flooding impacts that are pending, that are going to impact his county. And so we're all pulling together to deal with these things. And I have to share with you, I am the most comfortable today in front of you that I've been since being named president, because you people are so talented. You are kind of intimidating to me. And I'm finally getting to a place where I feel like what I can do for you and for us as a state association will be something I will look back on and cherish and be grateful for. So I do appreciate your support. Thank you to First Vice President Gibson. That is an invigorating lineup, and we can't wait to hear where the foundation is going next. And I'd be remiss also, even though Bruce already mentioned it, but the great work that our immediate past president, Ed Valenzuela, did in helping initiate the Community Grants Initiative. So, Ed, again, thank you. Proud of you, man. And if it wasn't enough, Ed is a big baseball fan. How many people knew that already? So last year, I became a big baseball fan of the Padres. And so now, when we're together out socially, we can talk baseball and ignore everybody else. I'm obsessed. And now, with the help of all counties, we'll need to recover from the January storm, CGI's one-stop grant shop is already indispensable. Now I have the honor of introducing my colleague, Yolo County Supervisor Oscar Villegas. He's the chair of CSAC Administration of Justice Policy Committee and sits on the CSAC Finance Corp Board. He's here to tell us about the Finance Corporation's newest enterprise program to help counties and county residents simplify property taxes. Please welcome Oscar.
Hold on. Chuck, can you come up real quick? Sorry. My mom, I told my mom I'm a county supervisor. She actually doesn't think that's a job. and so what I wanted to do real quickly, if you don't mind, Chuck, is take a picture with Chuck, because I love saying President Chuck Washington. Can you guys act like you're working? Act like you're doing something. I want to take a quick selfie because I really want the picture to reflect the work that we're doing.
There we go.
Thank
and then you want to get the crowd in there?
Yeah. Act like you're working. Do something.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Very good. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chuck. All right. So thank you for the opportunity. I was asked to come up and just spend 3 minutes updating you a little bit on the work that the CSAC Finance Corporation does for the CSAC family. And so for those of you who don't know, the CSAC Finance Corporation is governed by an 11-member board. There are 3 supervisors that represent all of us on the CSAC Finance Corp. I'm joined by Supervisor Forrester from Amador County. I don't know if he's here this morning. And then Supervisor Barger from Los Angeles. But the first thing I noticed after having served for about a year on the Finance Corp, they have amazing staff. They have amazing staff working every day, working on our behalf, working very closely with all of our business partners and our corporate members, and you've seen their names, you've seen them in the hallways at our conventions, our trainings, our conferences. So please, when you see them, please thank them for the wonderful work that they do, not only supporting our counties, supporting our county employees, but more importantly, supporting our constituents when we go back home. These services that the Finance Corporation supports really does help reduce the costs of the work that we have to do in our counties and improve efficiency. The beauty of the work that the Finance Corporation does is that the funds that it raises supports our advocacy efforts, and we all know how incredibly important, especially now, county advocacy is every single day. So that's a direct connection with what the Finance Corporation does. So what I was asked to do was to share with you just 3 quick examples of what the Finance Corporation does and the programs and services that it offers. And what better opportunity than to take advantage of the Easy Smart Pay program. Many of you may know a little bit about it, but doing that during April tax month, right? So the Easy Smart Pay program, also known as ESP, is an efficient, cost-effective way to pay your local property taxes. It helps pay your taxes on a monthly basis with avoiding a lot of the penalties and the fees and all the other associated costs at a very reduced cost. It's a huge benefit to counties, especially to counties, and to our taxpayers. And I think most recently, Napa County just joined. There are about 16 other counties that are looking at using the ESP program. A wonderful opportunity, again, to pay your taxes, huge benefit to the counties. Another example is the California Coverage and Health Initiatives, also known as the CCHI. This is a nonprofit agency that's partnering with the Finance Corporation, the federal government, the state government, and our local governments to essentially help enroll people in the best health coverage that they can get. Generally, these are for Medicare-eligible adults. The program itself offers a range of services from outreach, retention, recruitment, ombudsman, advocacy, administrative services. So it's a wonderful opportunity to take advantage of the work that they do. And then the third example, many of you probably already know a little bit about it, and that's the California Cannabis Authority. They've got a booth right outside, or the CCA. It was created, as you know, as a joint powers authority and established by county governments to help manage the data platform for our cannabis efforts. Many of us are trying to figure out how to manage our cannabis, regulate and tax our cannabis operators. And as that continues to evolve, CCA is going to be a critical part in moving us forward and providing support for counties doing that. So that's just 3 quick examples. I encourage you to go to the Finance Corporation website. There's a whole range of services and programs that are offered there that are good for counties. The beauty of it, again, one more time, is that there are no dues for counties to utilize these services. So again, when you see our corporate partners and the partners that we have in the Finance Corporation, please thank them for contributing, thank them for allowing us to do the work that we do. In summary and in closing, I'll just simply say, if you like what the Finance Corporation is doing, you're welcome. And if you don't, Alan Fernandez is sitting right there. He's the CEO of the Finance Corporation, but in honesty, they have amazing staff, so thank them for the work that they do. Thank you, Alan, for all that you guys do to help our CSAC family do the work that we do, so thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Oscar. That last comment about whether to take credit or not reminded me of my years at Delta Airlines. We had a tradition that after the landing at the gate, whoever landed the airplane, the captain or the co-pilot, would stand in the doorway and thank people for flying Delta. And, occasionally people would say, who did the landing? And if you were standing in the doorway, your answer would be, did you like it? Because if you didn't, it was the other guy still sitting in his seat. And it was the captain and he made a bad landing. He made the co-pilot stand in the doorway either way. And now, let's see. Thank you, Oscar. I thanked you, Oscar. Thank you again, Oscar. Oscar is great. The ESP program to modernize how property taxes are paid is long overdue. Riverside County is already a participant in the ESP program, and our treasurer tax collector can certainly speak to its value. We're almost done this morning, but before I introduce our next speaker, I want to remind everyone to pick up your conference program and badge at the registration table right outside. Badges are required to enter all conference events, and you don't want to miss any of the events. All agendas and materials can be found online. Simply scan the QR codes on the sides with your phone camera to access them. And if you're too old to know what a QR code is, there are Gen Zers roaming the room to help you out. We also have the 2023 CSAC priorities and at-home materials posted there. So those QR codes contain a lot of great stuff. Speaking of priorities, I want to introduce our very own CEO, Knaus, to share some of those thoughts and where we are with at-home and how the association is leading the way for county priorities. Graham.
Thank you very much. Good morning. What a great day to be in Sacramento and to make some change. I have the privilege to do a couple of cool things this morning, but I really want to start by just thanking you for being here, for leading in your communities, for making change on behalf of your constituents every day. Our theme today for this conference is about engage, empower, and elevate. And President Washington was absolutely right when he talked about it is you who are the power of this association. 100%. You make progress possible. It's your engagement which drives us forward, and it helps us partner with you to represent and lift up your communities. It is you and the many other county leaders across this state that are blazing the path to address homelessness in a new way, with our first of its kind comprehensive plan to address homelessness in at home. Counties are going where no other state or organization has gone before related to homelessness, and that includes leading a call for change. We can't continue to do the same thing. We need to do something that is different, with grounded policy recommendations, with a comprehensive approach based on clearly defined roles and responsibilities, shared responsibilities with different levels of government, and with a burgeoning and broad political coalition that we're going to use to make change happen in 2023. That's this year. This is happening this year. Yes. Not only are we leading, but we have the substance and the collaboration and the policy to back it up. And this is because so many of you have engaged on the ground floor to build at home at every step. CSAC is simply a steward in this. The work has been done certainly by our team, but by so many who have engaged, have course corrected, have refined, have suggested policy recommendations that are in every county in California. That's why it's a good product, because all of us came together. But we can't do it alone. We're entering today we are entering the second phase of this in terms of making our case and building a coalition. And so we will be engaged in an intensive effort looking beyond the county family at potential partners to make this happen, to put pressure on the governor and the legislature to make change happen, to partner with our city colleagues, including what we'll be doing later this afternoon with the joint session. At home is our way to create meaningful progress on an issue that has perplexed so many of us for so many years. And it's at its core, it's about 6 pillars. The presidents, or I should say the officers, told me they'll give me $10 every time I reference pillars when we were back in DC. So I'll keep talking about pillars. A is about accountability. And this is actually the most unique part of all this, which is we have to define who does what, how it's funded, how it's linked to accountability. And until we do that, we are going to fail. And this is the place that we are going to build a coalition around. Too often, funds are spent without measurable outcomes or an understanding of the impact or who is in charge of what. And that has to end. So we're building a coalition around this concept of accountability. That coalition is called Californians for Homelessness Accountability. We unveiled or are unveiling today a website with more information about that, including opportunities for folks to join this coalition. The T is about transparency, and this is about data. Too often, federal and state mandated systems do not talk to each other. And we're in this place locally of trying to sort out how individuals struggling with homelessness are being served. And it's incredibly difficult to do so when systems don't talk to each other, when folks have to go through 4, 5, 6, 8 different doors, and we don't always know who's gone into those doors. I was having a conversation with a colleague in San Diego not too long ago about housing placements and the difficulty in tracking how many individuals are being placed in what type of housing. And there's not a way to do that through the systems that are available. It takes a person to manually extract that from all sorts of different systems and pull that together. That doesn't make any sense at all. So how do we know that we're being successful? We need to change that. H is about housing. It's the whole spectrum of housing, but particularly to homelessness. This is about shelters, transitional housing, permanent supportive housing, extremely low-income housing. It's about ensuring that there are units available in communities. O is about outreach, and this takes 2 forms. One is about that initial emergency response system when someone falls into homelessness. And the other part about this is the workforce. We have a severe workforce shortage in California. It's particularly acute for behavioral health workers and for social workers, and that needs to change. We need to make investments in that. We need to think creatively about different ways, different licenses, different ways in which folks can get on the street sooner to help those without having to, say, go through a whole master's in social work program. There's got to be another way and a potential partnership with community colleges to make that happen. M's about mitigation, and this is where counties really come into play because this is largely about the health and human services system that you deliver on behalf of the state of California and the federal government. There must be a robust safety net system in California so that you have the tools necessary locally when you are administering the health and human services system to actually lift up those struggling in your community. And then finally, E is about economic opportunity. It's about employment pathways. It's about education pathways. and having a pathway towards self-sufficiency. And we got here because of you. We got here in creating a group, an unofficial group of elected supervisors from small, medium, and large counties. We got here from creating the Homelessness Policy Solutions Group, which is a 40-some-odd member group that includes all the relevant affiliates. It includes a number of CAOs, has included a number of homelessness coordinators, and those that are practitioners in each of the different policy areas. That's where this came from. And we look forward to today to doing something that we've not done before, which is take our legislative conference and the Cal City's legislative conference, which is literally next door, move the wall and have a joint session on homelessness to model collaboration, to model the willingness to get uncomfortable, to make change on homelessness. We're thrilled to see this morning in the California Political Playbook that the first story out of the box is about that joint session and at home. Change is happening on this. We've been meeting with editorial boards, and there are op-eds that are fantastic, particularly the one that was penned by Supervisors Joya, Carson, and Ellenberg in the Bay Area. Fantastic, and changing the narrative around this. But we're not only working on this issue. There are many other significant priorities in your communities, and that our board has charged us with pursuing. That absolutely includes broadband. That also includes water in all the different ways. That's both drought and it's flood. It's recognizing the need for storage. It's all the different elements around that, and so many other issues that are there. I want to also, feels like after all this flooding, it's too easy to forget the perils of wildfire and the disasters that may happen here that we may face again this year. In the need both for continued policy change there, for additional state investments to ensure our communities are protected, and for some federal advocacy work in this area, particularly as it relates to FEMA and some of the struggles, many struggles that large, small, medium-sized counties face all across the country in terms of that partnership. So we have partnered with NACO to move that forward and to elevate that issue at the national level. We do not want to wait until disasters are happening before we are reacting. We do not want to wait until policies come to us that counties may struggle with before we take action. We want to get in front of that. We can do that with your help and your leadership, because ultimately you are the ones that elevate the voice of your communities. You are the ones that can also take action locally and build those relationships and networks with your communities, with your city colleagues, with the chambers of commerce, with labor, with others around that. Ultimately, you bring the credibility for your community, the leadership for your community, the relationship to do something that is big and lasting in your community. Under the leadership of President Washington, the officers, our executive committee and the board, and so many of our conversations and leaders through our policy committees, working groups, and those beyond CSAC, but within the county family, you are all leading the way. We anticipate and strive to be as influential along with the county family as any entity in Sacramento. And we do that because we are a purpose-driven organization in a purpose-driven family that is focused on improving your communities. That's our charge. And that's why our team at CSAC is as outstanding as it is. And I'm going to ask them to stand, or if you are standing, raise your hand for just a moment. That's a legit request. So, our team does remarkable work on your behalf every day, and they do it with purpose, thinking about your community. That's our filter in everything that we do. That is also true for the organization, our affiliates, and the organizations that we partner with so closely here in Sacramento. I want to take just a moment to recognize someone that has just retired. I don't know if he's actually in the room. I'm gonna find out here in just a second. He is. Is Michael Radigan in the room? Could you stand? So, for those of you that do not know Michael, he has been the Santa Clara County lobbyist for the past 30 years. Michael has chaired what we call the county caucus for the past 20 years. It happens every week in our offices. CSAC hosts it, and it is getting all the county lobbyists, all of your lobbyists together, and the partner organizations together so that we can collaborate, we can share information, and better advocate on your behalf. So he's chaired that for the past 20 years. Has been involved in nearly every significant policy change impacting counties for the past 30 years. Has been the coach, the one guiding many of us to grow into more effective lobbyists on your behalf, to ingrain in us the value of service as we are representing counties. He's a trusted friend to so many of us. He's a Giants fan, which is both a positive and a negative, depending upon where you are in the state of California. But he has helped so many lobbyists in the Sacramento community develop and shape. And I remember early in my career, when I first became a lobbyist, I would go downstairs to what was then Brannan's, it's now Prelude. It was an old, almost dive bar haunt that lobbyists would go to while they're waiting for committee hearings and that kind of thing. I went down there and I just listened for a year to Michael Radigan, and there were others that were part of this. Dan Wall, the prior LA County longtime lobbyist who's no longer with us, Baxter Culver, who's the Sacramento County lobbyist back then, Casey Kaneko, who ran the urban counties of California, and a number of others. And the amount of knowledge that they have about county government that Michael would communicate to me and then to so many others over the past 20 plus years is remarkable, and it's almost never known outside of our county lobbying family. So Michael, I want to thank you. So go hang out with your granddaughter. You never have to cut your hair again. It's all beautiful. Some of us don't have that opportunity, so it's all good. I want to reference one quick thing which is related to homelessness, which is we have a special video booth that is set up in meeting room 13, which I think it's down there. Okay, out and to the left, and that it's available to all of you to have a quick snippet video of what's important to you related to homelessness, what's happening in your communities. We can use this both as part of our overall communications and also to integrate into our advocacy. So please be sure to stop by that. And then I have one more very important item to share. So for the past several months, we have not had a chief operating officer at CSAC. Manuel Rivas retired in December. We've been going through some change in terms of that role. We went through an extensive nationwide search. and went through that, a very lengthy interview process through all of that. And we did all of that to end up almost back where we started, with one very important exception, that we had absolutely the right person already on our team. We just needed to move her, change her title a little bit, and elevate her. She's a remarkable leader that many of you know very well. She is incredible at vision, leadership, and relationships. She will be, is already, and on day 2, an amazing CSAC Chief Operating Officer. That is Chastity Benson. Good times. As I like to tell her, the best job you can ever get is the one you did not apply for. That's been true. That's been true in every step of her journey with CSAC, because she's that good. So Chastity rounds out the CSAC executive team, which of course includes me, her, Jacqueline Wong Hernandez, and Karina Jones. So I'm going to do something I'm probably not supposed to do because it's more fun that way. This is, as we're thinking about how we're going through the next couple of days, the way in which you're leading your communities, the importance of being lifted up, I'm going to share a quote from Michael J. Fox, who many of you may know has struggled with Parkinson's for a number of years, and is about as optimistic as any person that you may come across. So his quote is, "If you don't think you have anything to be grateful for, first keep looking. Because you don't just receive optimism, you can't wait for things to be great and then be grateful for that. You've got to behave in a way to promote it, which means you own it. You own your optimism, just like we do. And it is that optimism that is the greatest strength for your community. That's your gift. It's your gift to us as you're guiding us on how best to advocate on your behalf. It's your gift to your community. It's your gift to your colleagues. And it's exactly why when we set our sights on a big priority like homelessness, we can do something that no one else has been able to do before. It's because we believe. And it's because we're doing it for the right reasons together. So I would encourage all of you to keep that close to you as you navigate through the next couple of days, weeks, months, whatever the time frame may be, and know that we are so thankful. We, the CSAC team, are so thankful for the opportunity to work on your behalf and to partner with you every step of the way. Thank you very much.
You probably noticed already we are running behind. So the CSAC staff asked me to cut out my last 30 minutes of my comments, which really leaves only to thank you for being here this morning. And I just want to say, we've done great work. It's behind us. We've got great work to do ahead of us. So get out there, get it done. Let's elevate counties. Have a good time. Thank you.